بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Assalamu alaikum students, I hope you all are fine. Today I am going to start new chapter number 3, particle theory. In the last classes, chapter number 1 we were covering, so almost it has done. So today's class we are going to discuss about chapter number 3, particle theory. Particle theory, what does particle mean and what does theory mean? In this chapter, we will discuss about solid, liquid and gases, the state of matter, what are the particles and what are the changes of these particles, we will discuss. So, first of all, we must know that what is particle. Particle, it means that a very tiny small bits, a piece, a fragment, you can say that. That is known as particle. Theory, it means that is based on some general principle. It means that is intended to explain something. Theory, it means that is based off some general principle, that is try to explain something, that is known as theory. Particles, a piece, a fragment, a tiny object or a tiny particle, that is known as particles. Theory based on some general principles. So in this chapter definitely we will discuss solid, liquid and gases and change of these states of matter. So characteristics of particles of the matter, first we know that what is characters and characteristics of these particles which are present in the matters. First is that particles that is a very small, very tiny, that is very small. Next is that have spaces between them. Spaces between them. The particles which are present in the states of the matter, they have a spaces between them. Next, they are continuous in a moving. Continuously in moving. The particles of these matters, they are continuous in a moving. Next, attract with each other. Attract with each other. There is a attraction between them. This is the characteristics of these particles. Particles, a very tiny object, a piece, a small fragment. This is the characteristics of these particles that are present in a matter. Matter, here we are considering solid, liquid, gas, state of the matter. So these are these characteristics that are present in the particles. They are looking like in a very small, very tiny, and have spaces between them. The particles which are present, they are spaces. There is a space between them. Next, continuously moving. Definitely the particles that will be in a continuous moving. They will continually moving some places to the other places. Next is that attract with each other. The particle, there is a attraction between them. Okay, these are the characteristics. Next is that the arrangements of particles in solid, liquid and gases. Look at the picture, that is the particles of these which I have drawn here. The solid particle, if we talk about the solid particles, that is looking like this way. It is tightly packed with each other. That is a solid particles. It is tightly packed with each other. There is not a space between them. Even air cannot pass. That is a tightly packed, tightly joined with each other. Next is that solids. Solid particles, that is, it is in a touchy way. That can be change the shape and structure as well. That is in a touchy way. Next is that the gaseous molecules and the gaseous particles, they are freely move here and there. Look at the picture carefully. That is the particles of the gases. They can easily move here and there. They are freely moved. They are allowed to move here and there. This is the solid particles, liquid particles and these gaseous particles. Solid are means tightly packed with each other. Liquid, they are touchy, that is means they are not tightly packed with each other. They can change their shape as well and structure as well. And gaseous particles, they are freely moved. They are allowed to freely move here and there. So one by one we will discuss the properties of these states of the matter. First, the solid. What is solid? Solid, the particles are packed together and their only motion they make is vibration. It means that the particles, they are tightly packed with each other, they are continuously means in a motion. They moving and make it vibrate. The particles may be arranged regularly or randomly. It means that they can be arranged in a regular way or randomly they can arrange, but that is it means that is tightly packed. They are close joined with each other. The particles are held in the solid by force of attraction. Force of attraction, it means that pulling of the object towards the surface. Force of attraction. By the attraction, they are joined together. There is an attraction between them. They are closely joined together. That is solid particles. So, what is the properties? Here we will write it down, some of the properties of these solid particles. First one is that particles are packed together. First one is that they are packed together, tightly close together. Next thing is that they make it vibrate. These particles, they are make it in a vibration. Understand? Next point is that the particles may be arranged in a regular way or in a randomly way. Regular or random way. This is the properties here we are discussing. Packed together, tightly packed, closely packed together, joined together, that is a particle that is in a vibrating mode, and that is regular and randomly way. Next is that is a particle, there is a force of attraction. Force of attraction between the particles of the solid. These are the properties. Properties mean that particles, there is a force of attraction present between the particles. As you can see the picture, there is the particles, that how it is looking like. These all are the properties. They are packed together, vibration, regular and random way, force of attraction. There is particles of the solid. Next is that liquid. Liquid, here we also discuss about the properties of the liquid, that what is the particles look alike. The particles are mainly touching, but some space have appeared in the structure. Liquid particles, definitely it will be change its structure and its shape as well. If we talk about the water can change its structure and shape. So if we talk about the water will in a solid way, that will be ice. Ice, it means that the particles which are present in the water, they are closely, tightly packed with each other. If we talk about the liquid, so water that is in a liquid form, that can change its structure and shape as well. If we put into the glass, that will look like a shape of the glass. Okay, so liquid, that is a particles that is mainly in a touching way. Mainly touching way. Understand? Next is that these spaces that is appeared in a structure, and these spaces allow the particle to move. The spaces, some of the low spaces you can see here, there is some of the spaces which are found between the particles, they are allowed to move. So that's why they are changing its shape. They are allowed to move. But if we talk about the solid, if it is looking like a structure and shape, that will be in a same way. That is not allowed to move the particles here and there. They are closely and tightly packed. Liquid, that is mainly touching, and they are allowed to move. Next point is that they are allowed to move. The particle can easily move. Next is that, and so the particles are arranged randomly. It's particle that is arranged in a random way as well. Arrangement of the particles, it is in a random way. Next is that The force that hold the solid particles together are also present in the liquid, but they are much weaker. If we talk about the force of attraction, they are present in the solid particle. It is also present in a liquid particle as well, but it is in a very less quantity, that the force of attraction is a very weak in liquid particles. There is a force of attraction present in liquid particles, but is in a very less amount, or it is in a very weak way. The particles, next is that the particles in the liquid are almost or close together as they are solid. So the basic difference here, like particles, they are allowed to move and they are not allowed to move. Next is that the force of attraction here we are talking about, that is in a weaker. Force of attraction is weaker, not alike a solid particle. Next is that gas particles. Here you can see the picture, that is they are freely move here and there, they are allowed to move. So here we also discuss the properties of the gases. The particles are entirely free to move, that is entirely free to move. Free to move. Next that at the distance and any attraction between the particles are negligible at ordinary temperature under pressure. Definitely, if we talk about the force of attraction in a gaseous particles, that is, it is very less. It means that there is no force of attraction between these particles. So that's why they are far away with each other. Here force of attraction is too much higher because they are connect with each other, they are joined with each other. In liquid particles, there is a force of attraction, but it is in a very less amount. Here gases particles, if we talk about the force of attraction, which are not present here. So that's why the particles are far away from with each other. That is far away. Far away with each other. And the force of attraction, no force of attraction. That is all are the properties of solid, liquid and gases. These all are the states of the matter. This is the arrangement of the particle as it looking like. That the solid particles, how the arrangement of the solid particles it is looking like, and how the liquid particles that is looking alike, and gaseous particles. So here we differentiate that the properties, that solid particles are different from the liquid particles, definitely, because they are joined together, they are not joined together, they are, but there is a space between them. And gaseous particles, they are freely moved. They are in a vibrating mode. There is a particles that can vibrate. Here that is in a moving way. So that's why it can change its shape, structure. That is in a random way. And if we talk about the liquid, that is also in a random way. The particles moving in a random way. And force of attraction too much higher here. And in a liquid particles, force of attraction is weaker, and if we talk about the gas, the force of attraction that is too much less. No force of attraction, you can say that. Okay, so these all are the arrangements and these are the properties we have discussed. Next, that change of the states of the matter. It means that if how the solid is changing, how the liquid is changing, and how the gases is changing. So these are the changes, states of the matter we will discuss. This is a page number 24. Changes of states of matter. Changes of states of matter. Changes of states of matter. So first is that melting and freezing. That is a change of states of matter. That If suppose if a solid, that how it is changing, it means that it is changing in a melting or it is changing in a freezing, that how it is a process, that how these metals are changing, how they are changing their states. First is that melting and freezing. Let's say take an example of a ice. If you take out the ice from the freezer and you just keep in the room temperature, after few time and after few seconds or minutes, it will start melting. That is in a solid form, that will change in a liquid form, that is known as a melting. So it means that how a solid it changes state. If energy is supplied by heating a solid, the heat energy causes stronger vibration until the particles eventually have enough energy to break away from the solid arrangement to form a liquid. It means that suppose a water which is boiling on a stove, that will means heat energy causes stronger vibration. Heat energy, that is has a very stronger vibration, they will change these solid particles into a liquid form. We took the example of ice, that we are taking the ice and keep in a room temperature, that is in a solid form. Ice that is in a solid form, and after some time that will change. It means that the ice will change in a water form, that becomes in a liquid form. That is how the states of matter is changing. So when a liquid freezes, the reserve happens. Now we discussed about that melting, that the freeze thing, a solid thing that is changed in a liquid form, that is known as a melting. Freezing, it means that the something, a liquid that will be freeze, that will be formed in a solid way, that is known as a freezing. When a liquid freezes, the reserve happens. It means the same process which is happening as like in a melting. At the same temperature, the movement of the particles is slow enough for the force of attraction to be able to hold the particle as a solid. So here we talk about the force of attraction. Suppose a thing which is in a liquid form, there is a force of attraction is very less amount. But if we change into a solid form, the force of attraction becomes very higher, because due to this attraction the particles join together and tightly packed together. So the force of attraction to be able to the hold of these particles as a solid. So it means that the particles which are in a liquid form, if it will be converting into a freezing, it will be converting to a freezing. So the particles that will be joined together, it means the force of attraction, they are allowed, they are hold these particles join together and make in a solid way. So as the new bonds are formed, heat energy is evolved. New bonds, some of the bonds which are formed to connecting these particles, joining these particles, that is heat energy is evolved. The heat energy that is evolved to change these states of matter. Melting, the solid thing which is changing into a liquid form, that is known as melting. Freezing, a liquid form converting into a solid particle, that is known as a freezing, like a ice. Next is that boiling and condensing. This is another way of changes. First we have discussed melting and freezing. Next is that the boiling and condensing. Boiling and condensing. So boil water, you have seen very well. So boiling, if more heat energy is supplied, the particles eventually move faster enough to break all the attraction between them. Now there is a solid particles, the force of attraction that is too much higher. But when heat energy it is supplied to these particles to eventually move fast enough to break all this attraction between them. There is an attraction which are found between these particles that will break down after providing the heat energy. That is the term of the boiling. After the provide the heat energy, the particles which are joined together, they start moving and break with each other, and the liquid starts boils. That is known as the boiling. Water starts boiling. The force of attraction and the because due to the force of attraction, the solid particles which are joined together, but after heat energy, after providing the heat energy, these particles start moving. The force of start moving here and there. The force of attraction becomes less. If the gas is cooled at some temperature, the gas particle will slow down enough for the attraction to become effective enough to condense it back into a liquid. It means that the gas that is cooled down in a temperature, the gas particle will slow down in enough way. The particles of the gas. So the force of attraction, definitely there is a very less amount between the particles of the gases. The force of attraction is very less amount. So the gas particles will slow down enough for this attraction to become effective enough. So boiling, it means that boiling, that is a liquid start boiling. The solid particles start boils. When it provides the heat energy, it starts the particles which are present in a solid way, that is losing the force of attraction. They means lose their attraction between them, and they are enough to break all the attractions between them. That is known as a boiling. Next is that the evaporation of a liquid. Evaporation of a liquid. The average energy of the particles in liquid is controlled by the temperature. The average energy which are present in the particles, they are controlled by the temperature. The higher temperature, the higher average energy. It means that the energy which are present in the particles that be controlled by the temperature. That is known as the evaporation of the liquid. This is a change of states of the matter. So further, this is the topic we will discuss in the next class. Here you must understand that how many changes are the states of the matter. First is that the melting and the freezing. We take the example of the ice, that how it is melt and how it is freeze. Next is that the boiling and condensing. It is providing the heat, too much heat energy, the force of attraction which are present between the particles, they start break with each other. Next is that the evaporation we will discuss ahead. So in this that is all about today's lecture. In this topic we have discussed the arrangement of the particles and the properties. We have discussed that what are the properties of solid, liquid and gases, and also we have discussed what is the characteristics of the particles. And here we discuss about the change of states of the matter. That is all about today's lecture. Now moving towards the homework. Question number 1, there is arrangement of the particles. How you will write it down? By the help of this diagram you will write it down the answer. In a question number 1, you will draw this diagram that is present in a page number 23. Here it is present. It is in a page number 23. Before writing the answer, by the help of this diagram, you will write down the answer. That how the arrangement is looking alike. Understand? And another one question, the properties of solid particles and the properties of the liquid particles. Here, you all know very well that some of the properties, you will write it down in a question number 2 and 3, that what is the properties of solid particles and what is the properties of liquid particles. That is all about today's lecture. I hope you all have got this. Take care and Allah Hafiz.